this isn't our official live stream. It's just a test to make sure that Friday's live stream is actually going to go off without a hitch. And to do that, we're testing it out on two streams. One is, I think mine is Instagram, and hers is Facebook. So does that look like somebody you know? I'm trying to make sure that
and my vision's not great. I can't tell.
All right. Well, in any case. All right, so I guess we should probably just wait for a few more people. I only have a couple of people. And so, anyway, to while we're waiting, I figured I'd go through and let everybody know that we have, over the last couple of months, built up to the launch that we're in now. We have launched Small Town Justice. Mm-hmm. We redid Legally Insane Films podcast, which follows the latest documentary that I released, Big Trouble in Little Quartzsite, which, by the way, last Wednesday got its 8th accolade at the 2021 Film Festival, or Film Festival Circuit, I should say. And on the 4th, we'll find out if we won anything in Scottsdale. Scottsdale is the latest festival, so fingers crossed on that one. So I haven't really broadly announced this live stream because, again, it's just a test. We're just trying to make sure we're doing it right. We're also trying to figure out whose account it's better to launch them from. And so far I'm thinking maybe it's mine.
Probably.
So anyway, I'm Kyle. I'm the director. I'm the podcast host. I'm the narrator. I write all the scripts. I do most of the social media. And we have a young gentleman named, well, let's go with you first. Let's talk about you first. Introduce yourself.
Myra, producer.
Yep. Emotional support. Mm-hmm. It's almost too much for me sometimes.
It's a lot.
And then we have Brandon. Brandon he's just moved to a new area and got a new job. So the jury's still out on whether or not he's going to be able to give us the same time because his job is like a late shift job. But so he might not be on the live streams, but hopefully he can still keep up with some of the other stuff we're doing. And of course, then Candace, who is in the film industry, she comes from the radio industry. She worked in Seattle, all throughout the Midwest, a bunch of radio stations, and she's working with us as kind of like a consulting producer. And so she's going to help us package a bunch of stuff and get it out there into marketing. But we are looking for social media people. We're looking for web sleuths. We really need web sleuths to help us on our cases. The case that we're doing right now is crazy. I don't want to be the only one talking. So why don't you talk about the case a little bit, the one that we're just now releasing, and I'll talk about the lead up to the launch and stuff like that.
Well, without giving away too much about the case, it is the Cabinet Con. And so it is a story that starts out that seems very straightforward and simple, but I can tell you that with each episode and with each time a call is made to a victim in the situation, we're just going down a whole nother rabbit hole. And the situation just keeps getting more and more complex and more serious. And it's like, how can all this happen just from a cabinet situation? You'd be surprised. But oh my goodness, is there so much to the story, and it's well worth tuning in and checking out because it will blow your socks off.
It's a lot like Quartzsite in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I picked up the phone and talked to a new witness, I got a new layer, and it was just as crazy as the one before. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe how crazy this has gotten. All right, so leading up to the launch, I think it's taken us about 2 months to get where we're at. It was when we're actually on time. We're on schedule. Mm-hmm. Now, what I thought I would have is a lot more podcasts, but this, as Vira kind of described, it multiplied in craziness and added a bunch of new doors that I needed to open. I'm also kind of reluctant to release a lot of the episodes because I'm waiting to speak to an investigator who is currently one of the characters in our discussion. Turned out to be one hell of a target, and he's currently under investigation. So I'm reluctant to release a whole lot on him because that could that could impede the investigation. Certainly, I don't want to get in the way of that. I have clearance from the attorneys who prosecuted a case that are aware of that investigation and are proponents of the media and everything else I've created from it, and they've given me clearance to release it. So I'm unless I hear otherwise by Wednesday, I'm going to go ahead and lock in a couple more episodes that do kind of delve into that. And hopefully we don't cause more damage than good.
Yeah, not stepping on any toes or anything.
Either we're going to put pressure on an individual, or the individual already knows they're under investigation. They can't not know. I know they're under investigation, and I'm not even in that state. So, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this case is live and crazy and real, and yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to announce that the first episode is going to come out tomorrow. For everybody that's watching this, though, it's been announced online that it's going to come out tomorrow, but it's actually available right now. So you can go to the website, legallyinsanefilms.com, and click on podcasts at the top, or you can click on the Small Town Justice link. Now, there's 2 podcasts on the main page. One is Big Trouble in Little Courtside. I think it's the 4th thumbnail down. And Small Town Justice is the second. So you can click on Small Town Justice. It's obvious. It's in big white letters on a blue backboard. And that will get you to the page. Currently, I have up the social media stuff, the intro to that investigation into that case, and I have a reference to the quiz. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the quiz questions right here on live, because I want to, if you're listening to the podcast, on the podcast, I say you get a free sneak preview access to my latest documentary, Big Trouble in Little Quartzite. But if you're on the live stream right now and you answer the quiz questions correctly after listening to the episode, in addition to that, I will also give you a free month as a fan club member on the investigator level, just for being cool.
Nice.
And because we can. Boom. That's one of the beautiful things of being the creative producer and the director. So anyway, so the way that there's a couple things you have to do before I announce the quiz. There's a couple things that you have to do to correctly answer the question. Well, there's a couple things you have to do to get me the answers to the question. The first thing is you have to completely, correctly, and before the next episode, send your answers to thejusticepod@gmail.com. That part is all those links and stuff. They're on the website. And what else? There's one. Oh yeah, you got to find me on Twitter. If you use Twitter, awesome. Find me up there. I want you to follow and hashtag me. It's not required, especially if you don't use Twitter, but I'm trying to build my Twitter. I haven't actually had a good, solid Twitter interaction for. I mean, I've been buried under this project, right? So I've been editing. I've let my socials go for sure. So I want to build that back up. But the good news is I give away freebies all the time on Twitter. I'm always announcing different stuff. Surveys are always there. Votes. You guys can vote on where we take the show. Right now, everything is just out there. We're just giving everything away. So, okay. Without further ado, the questions are: number 1, What is Michael McKay's former address? And by that, I'm not saying contact this man. You can't contact him anyway. It's where he used to live. That's why I said former address. Second question is, what is the name of Robert Stoll's flooring company? He, as another one of my witnesses told me, used that company before he got into conning people with cabinets, or maybe even during the same cons.
Might have been a little overlap.
Yeah. I spoke with a lady who, I mean, it's hard to get all the timelines, right? Because I have so many witnesses. There's 16 people that were defrauded of nearly $100,000 throughout the course of this thing. And some of them have died because these are elderly people. Some of them had their houses crushed by storms, and these creeps moved in and took advantage of them. Some of them are veterans. Some of them are just teachers. A lot of them are elderly. Real sad story. But in any case, they all have a different timeline of things, so it gets a little hairy. Question number 3. Why is the first episode called Bought and Stole? It's spelled a specific way. So go to the website, legallyinsanefilms.com, click on Small Town Justice, and find that episode. Listen to that episode. If you can answer all those 3 correctly, send that to me in an email, thejusticepod@gmail.com, and I'll give you a free copy of the film, free access to the sneak preview that's out now. I shouldn't say copy of the film because that kind of breaks the contract. But it is a sneak preview, and it's a different version than what's available in the film festival circuit, so I'm not technically breaking that rule. In any case, if you do have Twitter, follow me on Twitter and hashtag SmallTownJustice. I'm trying to start getting updates on my interaction. And the reason for that is my Twitter account has habitually, traditionally been interacting with other journalists. Up until 3 years ago, I was a journalist living outside the States, so that was my interaction. So what I'm trying to do is increase interaction with people who are just trying to find out about this show. So find me on Twitter and hashtag SmallTownJustice and whatever you tweet. Don't tweet your answers. Don't put your answers on Twitter and hashtag that. Obviously, you don't want to give that prize away. So, what else? I've got... follow me. Like, we're looking for web sleuth people as well. If you guys are interested in doing web sleuthing, and I'm not trying to invite people to interact with criminals here, but we need people to do some what they call doxing. If you guys aren't familiar with this term, it's basically just stalking somebody online, not in a harmful way.
Yeah.
Way in the background, not letting anybody know that you're actually looking at them, after them. You're basically just trying to find as much information as possible about these individuals so that we can just piece together timelines, piece together their patterns online. We were able to find so much about Robert Stoll based on what the victims sent me. They themselves were web sleuths. So, and if you're listening to this right now, you're probably doing it from Facebook over here and Instagram over here. So, yeah. I don't really have a sleuthing group on Instagram, but what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say there's no need to interact with these people. It's literally just digging up information about them. Not
only is there no need to, I don't want you to. Leave that to me if I'm going to do it. I'm actually, and that brings up a good point. One of the things that I'm going to be doing on this first case is I have already been approved to call and speak with Robert Stoll, who's currently serving a 10-year sentence in prison in Florida. I'll be talking to him. I've been approved to talk to him, but he doesn't have to talk to me. I can't guarantee that he will talk, and if he does talk, I have no guarantees of what he'll say or if he'll say anything. He could tell me to go F myself and hang up. I don't know, but I will be making the effort to call him. There's a vote on one of the podcasts upcoming about what to do with that information. So stay up with the podcasts. God, there's so much to it. Where do I even, I want to say a lot, but I don't want to give a lot away because it's
Yeah.
really exciting. Why don't you give me the preface? Like you probably have a better idea of like what we can say and can't say because I've got all the information floating around in my head and I'll probably stumble over it.
Well, just about the story in general. Um, Ultimately, there's a lot of takeaway. You can learn a lot from listening to this story.
Yeah.
First of all, so if you are interested in doing any renovations to your home, to your kitchen, or anything like that, be careful, be mindful of who you're considering to do that work for
Yeah.
you, because there are people out there that are looking to take advantage of people who are not doing their homework and people who are trusting. So,
This is an extreme case.
yeah.
Like this is top level con, right? And this guy, I have it on good authority, and by that I mean anonymous victims who or anonymous sources who work in law enforcement, and I have those recordings. I'll be playing those throughout the podcasts. Uh, but they tell me that he's just it all went to meth. Sadly, all these people's money just went to meth, which is such a shame because these people, some of the Edie paid out $11,000 to this guy. Micah paid out $6,500. Another victim, B, which you'll hear from in episode 3, she paid out $6,500. This is a lot of money to these people.
It's harder in cash.
They're on a fixed income, a lot of them,
Saved up money.
Social Security. This man took that money and smoked it. That's what he did. He smoked their money and got high. That's what it was worth to them. So in any case, yes, she's tapping into something that's very important. Not only is it important because we expose a huge scam, but there's a lot of scams that are very similar to this. And while I'm talking to these victims, a lot of times they indicate that there are other similar scams that are like this happening in their communities. So in any case, I also talk with the Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau in every state. I'm not, maybe I shouldn't say every state. I'm sure that most states have a Better Business Bureau, and each office has an investigative wing for the state or a region. Florida's a huge state, so I think the people that I talked to were in the panhandle area, that little outcropping of land that meets up with Georgia, Alabama, Carolina to the north, South Carolina, and then of course the Gulf below it. So in speaking with the Better Business Bureau, they have lots and lots of resources. It's going to be really crucial that you guys listen to that episode when it comes out. My first trip over to England, when I rode my bike through England, and I see Pete Skates there. How you doing, Pete? When I rode my bike through England, I stopped. I just needed like a tire repair or something. I can't remember how. It's many moons ago. It was like 2008 when I was cycling through, and I stopped and I parked my bike on the side of the street. And I walked up to this person's house and I knocked on the door, and they were like right there in their kitchen, and they saw me, and I was like, "Hey, I just need to know where to find a tire shop or something." They wouldn't even come to the door. They like waved me off. They were like, "No," and eventually I started wheeling my bike back, just pushing it back by foot into town, and someone stopped and gave me a ride. They had a small truck, and I asked them what the story was with everybody being so standoffish, and they said there had been a ring of a rash, I guess I should say, of cons that showed up at somebody's door, all like hit all these neighborhoods. Said that they needed to check their water. Showed up in like a suit, a smock or something with a clipboard. They showed up and they said, "Hey, we just need you to run your water, and we're going to go check the back of the house." Although they walked right up, they got these poor people sitting there watching their water run down the drain. They walk up into their bedrooms or whatever and steal jewels from them and steal their money and stuff like that. Just crazy story. I got a little derailed there, but lots of stuff that you'll hear about during this particular podcast. Anything strike you? Because you've heard me doing this. You've been in the studio while I've been interviewing these people. Anything stand out?
Well, there's a lot of surprising things about it. I don't know what to say without revealing too much, other than the lengths that these con men go to pull off these jobs is just like ridiculous. Like you would think that it's legit, but it's making me realize, and I think it's something that's going to help people and make them realize that it's not just good enough to look up the company online and look at their website. You need to go to like the Better Business Bureau
But
website.
you do need to do that stuff.
Oh yeah, you still need to do that, but you need to do more than that. You need to dig further because they have, setups. They know what steps people take now. So
yeah, not only that, and I'll reveal this too. They have a bunch of resources. It's episode 3. And by the way, I'm going through the timeline of these podcasts. You'll be able to see all this stuff as it comes out. LegallyInsaneFilms.com. Click the link for either one of the podcasts that I've got going right now. We're talking specifically right now about Small Town Justice, if you're just joining, which we just launched this week. Tomorrow's the first episode. But as I just said, you can actually go to the website right now and find it. So in any case, in our prior releases, we did test audience releases, and that kind of created a lineage of these podcasts. In the podcast that I do with the investigators from the Better Business Bureau, they tell me that they have a specific set of criteria. They've been doing this, I think they're over 100 years old, the organization as a whole. They have criteria they go through. Not only do they have that, they have links with the insurance, like the overseers of the state's insurance, the insurers, those people licensed to practice insurance sales. They're tied in with the finance bureau. They're tied in with the state's attorney's office. And together they have meetings all the time, and they know how to package things so that their preliminary investigation, once they turn it over to law enforcement doesn't have to play a guessing game. They have it packaged just so the lawyers, the attorney, the prosecutors, law enforcement, they know exactly what to do, and they can just go and start investigating. So that's a huge resource that I didn't even know about. And I'm sure they have some kind of an investigative body like that, a non-law enforcement investigative body like that over in England. Maybe Pete can tell us. Maybe he can let us know about that. But what else? I have a bunch of stuff here. So right now, there are. I guess I should go over like the type of releases. Right now, for 1 month, this is the first week in November. Our launch had us set up to launch one podcast per week, every week on Tuesday. We do have a fan club where you'll get that episode a day early, possibly even, I might even do it on a Sunday where it's a little easier to listen to it. I'm happy to do that for fan club members. Let me know if you guys want to do that. I also have a Web Sleuth Facebook group. It's a private group just for web sleuths. You have to pass a test to get into there because I'm not really keen to let people in there that are, have false accounts. Maybe they're working for the people we're actually investigating right now. So there's a little bit of a risk factor there. But I do have a bunch of people in there that I trust right now. It's going to remain small. It's not going to be a big group. We're probably even going to do live crew live streams on that, discuss the cases. So that's that. Fan club memberships are like $3. For $3, you get access to full episodes. There's $3, $5, and $9. $9 is more like if you like the movies, you get access to my latest documentary with the $9, but you also get like extras, extended cuts, bonus materials, outtakes, different intros and stuff like that. That's $9. That's just for the film lovers. For $5, you get voting power, you get live stream access, you get case files. You actually, and the reason that's called investigator level, like the patrol is $3, $5 is the investigator level. It's because we actually want to expand the number of people that have access to that. so we have more eyes on it, more people telling us, I mean, I can look at stuff all day long, and I do, and get lost in the details. But someone with a fresh pair of eyes gets in there and looks at it. It's a lot easier to pick out stuff that we might have missed. So the more the merrier to an extent. I'm not going to make that group huge. What else? Yeah, I guess that's it from me. We went over the quiz. We do have a couple of new people. I'll go over the quiz one more time, and if you have anything you want to say before we end, think about that while I'm doing the quiz. How's that? All right. So the rules for the quiz. Let's do the prize first. The prize for the quiz is I'll give you 1 month free access to the fan club, like investigator level. I really kind of want to give a whole bunch of these away just to have people test it out and see what they think. And it's a lot more engaged. We do talk about the back end of the case. You get the anonymized and extended interviews that aren't released with the podcast. So there's a lot going on there that I'm really hoping to get good people on for. Okay, so that's the prize. As far as the rules go, you have to obviously answer 3 questions correctly, completely, and before the release of the next episode, right? And you have to listen to the actual episode to get the answers from the quiz, but it's not going to take Einstein to answer the questions. All you have to do is answer or listen to the show. The answers are all in there. The first question is, what was Michael McKay's former address? And I'll give you a hint. It's in Ohio. I think it might be one of the visuals there, but we do say it. And by the way, speaking of that, we also have video versions of these podcasts on my YouTube, youtube.com/Kyle O'Donnell. I'll go ahead and put that link. I'm not sure I put that link on my website, legallyinsanefilms.com. Click podcasts. I'll go ahead and put my YouTube there. The video version of the podcasts, you can still get everything you technically want or need out of the audio version, but the video version covers, background checks, any of the graphics that I was able to find, some screen captures and screen recordings that I was able to find in looking people up, plus pictures of the people I'm talking to, stuff like that. All of that stuff is available in the video version of the podcast. LegallyInsaneFilms.com. Click the Small Town Justice podcast and get access to that. Question number 2. What is the name of Robert Stoll's flooring company? As we said a little while ago, cabinets are not the only con that Robert Stoll employed, per my witnesses and victims' interviews. What was the name of the flooring company that he used as a con before he got into conning people, or perhaps during his cabinet con? And question number 3, why is this episode called Bought and Stole? I love this question too.
That's a fun one. Oh, yeah.
It's really, really, you'll like the answer when you find out. All right. Dang it. I had something else up here and I think I lost it. Were you able to think of anything?
I couldn't think of anything. Just,
we got the quiz. We talked about the quiz. We talked about the votes.
the web sleuths. Yeah.
Episode 1 we didn't have any previous episodes. This is our very first one. This is a premiere episode for the season, for this case, on the launch, all of that. So we didn't have a prior vote. But at the end of every episode, I do a vote. Like, what do you want to hear next? Do you think I should call this person? Or do you want me to focus on the victims? Blah, blah, blah. Can't remember what the vote was for this episode, but we didn't have one prior to this. So there's no results of that vote. However, every time you open up a new podcast after episode 1, there's results of the former vote for the previous episode and the new vote for that current episode. So be sure to, I think I put those at the end. And the reason that I put those at the end is because I want to reward my fan club members with those. You'll figure all this out when you listen to the episode. It's very involved, and I like engaged audiences, so that's why I structured the podcast the way it was, and that's why it's taken me 2 months to put it all together. So,
and we're encouraging ideas for stories, or
yes,
absolutely,
yeah. I should go to the website actually. All right, so when you go to the Legally Insane Films the whole website is designed so that I can find out what you want more of. Like the whole website is designed so that I can find out more of what you want. There's a join the fan club link on the. If you're looking at it on a desktop, there's two sets of 3 thumbnails. The first is the film. Obviously, I want people to check out the film. It's gnarly. I just released it. It's won its 8th award in the film festival circuit just last Wednesday. I'm super stoked about that. And we're not even halfway through the film festival season for 2021. It goes all the way up to March, April. I think some of them are even in May. The stragglers are in May. So we're not even really halfway through the film festival season yet, or we're kind of approaching halfway. And it's already won 8 awards and accolades. So super stoked about that. The next link you'll see is Small Town Justice. If you go in there, you've got, open this in another page. I'll wait for that to load. Then the join the fan club. I'm also looking for web sleuths, right? So I've got a link on the bottom thumbnail for joining up the web sleuths. If you click that link, it'll send you right to the Facebook page. It's a private page. I'm not going to let everybody in. You're going to have to kind of pass a little bit of scrutiny because we do talk about victims who are vulnerable and elderly and underrepresented. So I want to make sure that we absolutely hit the mark on letting the right people into that group. No riffraff will be tolerated, but thankfully, though, I've got good people in there right now. So I'm sure I won't have to worry about that. And then if you go down to the bottom, it says, pitch us your story. There's a link to pitch us your story. There's all kinds of stuff that you can actually do on that page. You can pitch us a documentary. If you think that your story is like nuclear level crazy, you should watch my documentary first to make sure that it actually stands par with that one. But you can also pitch us basic podcasts. Podcasts are a little bit less complex than film. You're generally hoping for an audio only audience with those, so that's going to happen more fluidly with audio versions of that if you have a more simple story. But anyway, all the criteria is on there. And then any suggestions and stuff like that. This is the producer, if you are just joining, Vira at legallyinsanefilms.com. That's her email address. Her email address is going to be on the page as well. So send suggestions there, story ideas. Also, email the answers to the quiz. There's another email address that I want to keep the quiz answers going to, and that's thejusticepod@gmail.com. So send those there to keep those separate. I'll start doing daily updates on this show now that we're launched on my Twitter feed. So if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter, and I will be putting everything I do under the hashtag #SmallTownJustice. Small Town Justice. So if you feel like searching stuff that I'm into right now, you don't necessarily have to know what I've done. Just search that hashtag. You'll be able to find just like the whole lineage of stuff. And oh yeah, I need to update my YouTube. What else? What was I going to say?
Well, there is the point you made today that you picked up on that I don't know how we overlooked it before, but how this is a strong story that shows women stepping up and really making things happen.
Yeah, how did I miss that?
Yeah, that is, it's incredible that, these women are involved with the situation, getting these cabinet, setting up the repairs or getting new cabinets going, but then also hey, something's not right here, and then going that extra mile to make things happen and not giving up. Like, they kept going to make sure that they got justice.
And it's not just it's not just the victims. Almost everybody in the story was female, right? So let's just knock it down. We got the perp, right? Robert Stoll, and his name is an amazing happy accident there. Robert stole from lots of people. And so he's the only male in this story, right? There's Robert, then there's Micah, victim number 1, who introduced me to the story. Victim number 2 that I talked to was B. Victim number 3 was a lady named Edie, elderly lady. She's a firecracker. I love her. Then we got the prosecutor, a 26-year-old female prosecutor, goes in and just serves this guy up on a shit platter. I don't mean to curse too much, but like I'm real proud of the way that went down. 10-year conviction, 20-year probation, with another 5 years to ensure, for a total of 25 years of probation for restitution. Dude's gonna spend 25 years paying back $100,000 after he gets out of prison. It's like throwing your life away. That's 35 years that this prosecutor nailed him on, and she's considered to be a junior prosecutor in her law firm. She's a state prosecutor, but hot shot. So who else? Then there's I'm going slow. All the ladies at the Better Business Bureau, everybody I talked to there was female. I mean, you got victims who like refuse to stand up. So we're talking about really strong, proud women. And my first reaction when I heard that my good old friend Micah refused to back down, I was like, yes, that's really, it's an inspiring story. If you're looking for a girl power story of the month, search no further. This one is really, they knock it out of the park. So yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. I was really, I was proud to be a part of that. I feel like I'm not even doing anything, but one thing now that I'm on that train, I do want to make sure that I put out there is, I don't know when I'm going to announce this publicly, but it could be week 2, it could be week 3, I don't know, but because a lot of these victims had their kitchens and bathrooms destroyed by this man. Some of them, it's been 2.5, 3 years for some of them. They don't even have kitchens. They're like washing their dishes in their bathtub so they can have clean dishes. Some of them don't have water or electricity because this guy came in and like cut the water intake pipes and the electricity to their kitchens. Left them in really just horrible situations. So I am going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign to help restore these victims, right? He stole $100,000 from them, $97,000, left their kitchens in shambles. I think maybe week 2, week 3, I'm going to start introducing, because that's the lineage of the interviews anyway, I'm going to start introducing a crowdfunding campaign, and I'm going to reach out to media outlets. I'm going to reach out to the Better Business Bureau. I'm going to reach out to the review sites like Yelp and, it's not Mandy, it's like the Craigslist for jobs, for work. A bunch of review sites. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get the message out there and hopefully raise some money to get these people some of their kitchens and bathrooms back together. Mm-hmm. Luckily, he didn't actually kill anybody, but a few of the victims did die because they're elderly and they were literally waiting on justice and never saw it before they croaked. So yeah, it's a tragedy, but I feel like we can do good things for them, so that's why we're going to push through and do that. Anything else?
Nothing else I can think of. Make sure you listen to the episode, watch it on YouTube, take it in. Yeah, legallyinsanefilms.com is the place to find all this stuff. Go to legallyinsanefilms.com, click the podcast, Small Town Justice. Our first episode is launched as of tomorrow, but you get access to it today. Follow me on Twitter at Kyle O'Donnell. Almost everything I do is at Kyle O'Donnell. And if you're on Instagram, you already know that name. If you're on Facebook, we're actually on her account. She's the administrator of that Facebook account. Find me on that Facebook account, and you'll find the YouTube page. You'll find our YouTube channel. You'll find all kinds of stuff there. What other links? I think that's it. I'm trying to keep it simple. One webpage, couple of social platforms. I'm not trying to like raw dog it, but there's a lot of content. It's a good story. Mm-hmm. It's a hell of a survival story. It's a hell of a, like, these women got together and kicked this guy's ass, and he walked in there into court with a swagger thinking he was going to walk home that day, and instead they marched his ass right back to jail for another 8 years. So we got a hell of a story for us. So also, reach out and let me know what you guys think. I'm always loving some responses. Tell me if you want more of this, less of that. If you want me to reach out to more of the victims. We got the victims, the prosecutors. I reach out to Robert Stoll in jail. I've been approved by his caseworker in prison to speak with him. All I have to do is finalize the approval with the warden, and I'll be talking to him hopefully this week, if not next week.
We got, who else? Oh, I called around to a bunch of other cabinet companies. I'm trying to talk them. I'm currently in discussions trying to talk those guys into volunteering time, maybe materials to help. After I get the crowdfund campaign, I'll pay these guys for their time and they can put these people's kitchens back together.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be able to do that. And who else? There's got to be a couple more. I talked to the Better Business Bureau about their investigation. I talked to the attorneys. The prosecutors gave me a hell of a story. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. This being our season launch, our premiere case, I'm so eager to get responses from this because this is going to lead into another case. I already have it. It's even crazier than this one. Can't see anything about it though. So anyway, thanks so much for everybody that joined us. I'm going to try and I have no, this is our first test run on these. So we're going to try to put it in our story and keep it in the feed a little bit longer to make sure we get as much response to this as possible. Tomorrow's the launch. Thanks for joining us. I hope everybody had an awesome Halloween, and we'll see you Friday. We got another live stream Friday, and they're going to happen. They're going to happen weekly after the release of the podcast. So we'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Bye.